Hang on, now you can hear me. Welshman is here. How's it going, Lyndon? Are we doing good, dude? How has your Friday been? We will be joining very shortly, just getting a few bits sorted. You've made so many potatoes in the air fryer. Why? Potatoes are yummy. I'm not going to fuck with that at all. But what have you done to said potatoes? Really, you just made roast potatoes? We call them jack potatoes at the whole. And many crisps. You know what? I've never actually thought about making crisps in the air fryer. I know it's possible. It's not something that's ever crossed my mind. I'm having to try that now, Lyndon. I'm sorry, Ozzy. We have to switch over now. To have the right music. Do you say potato peeler? Do you mean a mandolin? Because they have to be a certain thickness, don't they? Or am I imagining that completely? I know those mandolins are fucking sharp. You know what? I'm gonna have to try that in the air fryer. That does sound quite nice because you can make your own seasonings. That's a good thought, Lyndon. That's going in your quotes. Nah, we don't. Well, it can't do really, can it? I mean, that's a given. You have to wash them to get the starch off. And I'm guessing you just pat dry them. Or have you just left them, just salted? Or have you done something with them? Oh yeah, obviously with oil. I mean, you could always spray them with like a lighter oil as well. Ooh, paprika. Me and the missus do like paprika flavoured crisps quite a bit. We do like them. No, that's bugging me. Let me just change something quick. Because... I want to be slightly higher. There or something. Alakazam. Something else I want to try as well while you're there, Lyndon. How does that look when it's sat there? Maybe there? Nah, don't like that. I need to change the positioning of them. I haven't, no. I'm going to be trying it on Monday evening, or maybe tomorrow morning. I might even give it a go tonight. Before I log up. Unfortunately, I am away this weekend with my girlfriend's family. We leave tomorrow and I'm not back until tomorrow. No, I'm not back until Monday. Right, how's this gonna fuck me? I don't like how spicy this looks. Also, where's my dog? Where did I leave my dog? Where did I leave my dog? I have a feeling I left him here in Covent Garden. Let's just check, because I can't actually remember. I really should have something here saying, Onyx, your dog is here. The poor pooch has been abandoned. Ah, delicious. I hear panting. Okay, so he was meant to be staying here, but he wasn't here. At least we found him. At least we know where he is. What is on my mind? Let's just transfer some stuff back over, and we'll take the dog back out with us. The good boy has been found. Though, I find it quite funny how I always forget about that fucking dog. What are you up to this week in London? Anything fun? I mean, IRL, I'm a pretty good owner. How stupid this dog is, I'm a pretty bad owner. It's got no armor now. The fuck? Where's your armor gone, dog? Well, I thought... Well, I clearly thought wrong. Harvest Festival? Is that why you've made all the potatoes? Mm. I mean, it needs to be all up. I mean, who doesn't love a good potato? Let's be honest. Oh, I should have noticed that. Oh, there's the dog armor. You don't provide your own consume. I mean, I wouldn't complain with that. Me and the missus, we went to a food festival not so long ago, and I'll tell you what, the food. Well, I showed you the food. It was fucking amazing. It was really good, really, really good. Right. So that's got 69 armor. We need to try and beat that. So we've got 10 now. Left leg. Right leg. Yeah, we'll try that. Piece of helper. No, I don't think that's going to be any use. So 2, 4. We don't actually have a lot of fucking uniforms. But what's that? So left leg 10, helmet, right leg, got the arm. Does that beat 69? That beats 40. No, okay, it's 46 still. Okay, maybe we should stick with that then for now. But not that. Get rid of you. Get rid of you. Keep you. I'm a naked onyx. Hey, Pinky. How's it going, dude? Yeah, all good with me, mate. All is good with me. I enjoyed watching you play RuneScape earlier. It was quite fun. Come on, Pooch. That's where you were. That must have been though. You did make me want to play RuneScape. I haven't played. Well, I've never played it, but it's been one of those games everyone I've ever met has always played. Oh shit! Really? Oh, nice one, dude. That's pretty big. Is there any benefits to those? Oh, really? What's up, Churchill? Oh, empty teacup. That's depressing. You're not going to get zapped. No? Okay. Am I going to get zapped? They're going to kill me. Scent? Desk? Does? Ah, fair enough, dude. Churchill does seem to be invisible. Invisible? Invincible. I'm not getting shot when I stand near it, so it can't be that dangerous. Got to do this. Don't know why I had to do that. Whoa! Well, now he's not okay. Okay, now it shocks me. And that's first death within 20 minutes. Solid. It's going to be a long night. I mean, I don't have to do this now, but I remember ending on this. I want to get it sorted. Ugh. You saw the trailer for season 2, didn't you, Pingy? For Fallout. Is it? Do you guys don't have a bank holiday this Monday, do you, Lyndon? There was actually something I wanted to ask you as well. I thought of it the other night. I can't remember what it was. One of the sound things I don't actually need to pick that lock. I should just be able to open it. Nope. Unless there's a certain way I need to do this. Maybe I have to do it and it'll tell me. Yeah? Wayne? Second guess. Come on. Three, 1, 2, 4. Okay. 3. Safe. 1. 2. What's 4? Oh, fuck. Ow. Sorry, Churchill. This cannot be opened. Okay. Is it a quest line? It is a quest line. Okay, well, I tried. Ow. I must need something. Ow. These guys are char grilled. Anything hit? Am I being shot at? Who's shooting at, Churchill? Well, Churchill's being set on fire for some reason. Get fucked. Right, okay, I don't know how to do that. He was cold, bless him, weren't he? Oh, I forgot it says the longest reload time, and we're doing it in slow-mo now as well.
Never. So don't come here. My arm.
How are you not dead? Fuck. Ah, you're using a Chinese pistol. No wonder why you were screwing me over. You're fine, Churchill. Right, so that Tesla Rock is a big no-no for now. It's fine. Let's wait that for now. Let's go down here.
End of the line.
Ow. No, 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 no. I'm not mentally ready for you. Come on.
You like the sight of your own blood?
Mm-hmm. Fuck off! This could be a fast track Linden to 30. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They seem to have taken a page out of my book. You do? At least I'm over here now.
Fucking hiding from me. Dead.
Oh, you really love your fire. I have a plan. Don't die. Words of wisdom right there. We're addicted to dog food. Not ideal. Here's my plan, Lyndon. That right there. You don't want that arm, did you? Oh, don't reload now. Worst time.
You better be worth it.
You have that stupid Chinese rifle. Uh-oh. Spicy, 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 spicy. Coffee hot. Where are you? Go away! Mr. Spicy Man. Well, I will take your flamer.
Why don't you just die?
I'm not dying again. I refuse. I believe so. What? I think I'm dreaming with all these deaths. That's bullshit. That was bullshit. That's what that was. Like, you saw the amount of food and stim packs I consumed, but nope, it decided to still fuck me. It's fine. We're going to do this sneakily. Shut up, Churchill.
Fuck was that?
It was me. I missed.
Thought you could hide.
Churchill. Fuck off. Fuck off. Fuck off. I chose the wrong guns.
He's called Freya.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. You're fucked. Where's your Mr. Pyro friend? Hey, you're dead.
I got you covered.
Oh, really? I see your little leg.
Come on, tough guy. Come on.
Hey, Shade. How's it going, dude?
Bastard.
I appreciate the alert, mate.
Getting picked off. What? What happened?
Ugh.
You like the sight of your own blood?
Am I in me or am I hitting the fucking skip? Think we're clear. Right? It absolutely is. I don't do it enough, to be honest. I was saying earlier that I need to sort myself some new armor. Once we've gotten the, well, the next few levels, we're going to focus on upgrading all those levels. Oh, I need to start using my little spicy stick a bit more. Yep. Is that a gun store? Oh. Are you friendly gun store, man? Churchill, stop being a dick.
How can I help you?
Give me some weapons.
Take a look.
You are cheaper. You're a lot cheaper. Oh, excuse me. That looks fun. Need to start considering upgrading some weapons as well at some point. Is that a blaster? You really do enjoy wasting your points. I was trying to find a way so you can actually spend them. What do you mean, Lyndon? Unless you're referring to the fuck, what's it called? I don't want that. Ah, Sidious Goose. Thank you for contributing 1,686. Clearly, she wants me to do an all-night stream. 24 hours. So, probably so she can get all this peace and quiet. It's in the works, Lyndon. It is on the agenda. It's on my list. I'm just trying to work out how to do it and how to make it not so spammy. So I will make sure it is there. You just gotta bear with me. If you can do that, of course. So you might want to see something about your gambling addiction. I'm trying to do it so when you do it, a little thing pops up above me with your well, with whatever gambling thing you do. I'm thinking, obviously, for generic slots kind of thing. Roulette. Also, I saw someone set up a lotto thing, which I love the idea of. Yes. Yes. Yes, hello, Sidious Goose. Hope you're doing good. Even though you are just downstairs. Oh, you're not friendly. Oh, fuck. Okay. Pingy, you do know you could be dropping nukes with all these points, by the way. I made the nuke drop now points. Fair enough, I'll take that. I feel like I need it with my poor skill set.
You killed him.
Didn't just kill him. I shattered his head.
Yeah.
Not so lucky with that one.
Help me.
How did I miss? Oh, you have a shotgun. What can you do to bring my luck down? Why on earth would you want to do that, Lyndon? Surely you want to help the streamer. No? There is a way I can reduce my my luck. I can't remember how. I think you might know. I mean, if you want me to do melee only for a bit, I could do melee only. It'll cost you. I'm joking. That number would go up dramatically if it was melee only. I'm pretty sure I did set a redeemer for that. No? Tell you what, Lyndon. Day Tripper, right, okay. Well, there is a redeem which says make me addicted, but that only works if I have the chems on me. So I imagine some of these chems are going to be quite hard to find. But what I will do, Lyndon? Pacifist run. What's that? Don't kill anyone. I think that defeats the object, no? But what I will do, Lyndon, is just for you. I'll make a new one. There you go, Lyndon. I've just made a new channel point just for you. So if you want to fuck with me, you now can freely. Though I would kindly ask why you know, don't. You can do. You really, really feel like fucking me over. Oh, fuck! Fuck! Churchill. Churchill. Thank you, Churchill. I couldn't mind that. You are very correct. I didn't even think of that. I will do that going forward. If you want me to run with fists, I will run with fists for 5 minutes. What the fuck are those things? No, you are all good, dude. What the fuck? What the fuck? No, you are all good, dude. I appreciate all help and any help. You are fucking ugly. What the fuck are you? Are you what blowflies meant to look like?
Yeah.
These things are horrible. Ugh, I was inside of you. Ugh. Not nice. And there's another one making its way towards me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You are one weird looking glory hole. I wonder if there's death claws in this. I would like to see a Fallout London version of a death claw. Fuck off! You weird little boxing machine thing. How did you take no damage from that? The fuck? Oh damn! Full on drop 5,500. Jesus. Yeah. Or imagine that. Who's that fucking? Shut up, you. Oh fuck! Ow. You're fucked. Or who's that character in Fallout 4 where you have to go and help him because he's turned into a super mutant? Is it Graham? He'd be a northerner. Virgil, that's the one. You know who I meant. He'd be quite a funny northerner, I think.
There you are, you bastard.
You'll be a hoarder of tea. Oh, but there's more. They're all around me. Balls. I don't want moldy food. That's a pretty good accent, and I can hear you say that as well.
Fuck. Another shot.
I do like this service rifle. Where the fuck did you go, you little fuck? Get fucked! You actually nailed that accent entirely. It's like you fully thought about it before. Well, these guys look worse for wear. What the fuck?
Need some cover fire
Oh, I see you.
over here.
Oh, you lucky fucker.
You think you can win this, eh?
Fucking stop moving, you fucker. Oh fuck, you're legendary. I may have fucked up here. Ah, no!
Do you?
Get fucked. Oh, fuck, no, for someone else. Oh, don't die. I beg. I beg. I beg. Oh, I see you. Lyndon, shut the fuck up.
Never should have come here.
A double legendary character. The fuck?
Not scared yet.
Well, don't stim pack. That's cheating. Bye bye. Please fall so I can get you goodies. Oh yeah. Oh fuck yes. Missed. Got him. Fuck. Nice. Get some good toys here now. Doodle! How's it going, dude? How the devil are you? Yeah, not too bad, thanks, mate. Not too bad. It's Friday, and it's a bank holiday. Not going to complain. And you have contributed nearly 5,000 points. Nice. Seems like you all really want to do this 24-hour stream. I've lost my dog. There he is. What? What is it with you and Lyndon who want to see me suffer? Joke's on you. I enjoy Fallout. I thought I could be clever there and try and get up there. Really, I cannot do that. I'm going to go with the latter. Right. This is going to be spicy water. Holy fuck, that's very spicy water. Let me up! God damn it. That's more radioactive than fucking Chernobyl. That was brutal. That was the most unfair death I've ever had. Probably. It probably is, Lyndon. I can't comment personally because I'm not too sure. But I sure for shit wouldn't go for a swim in it. That's damn well sure. Oh. Give me 1 second. I'm being mained out by Twitch for something. What's Twitch moaning at me for? Oh, that's why he's moaning at me. Okay. That's why he was moaning at me. Right. So I've got to do that again. Some bullshit, man. I need to learn to quick save a bit more. So guaranteeing now I'm not going to get those weapons again. You're goddamn right I fucking will. I don't have a lot of Radex either.
Hearing shit.
No, you're not. You're dead now. Sleep easy. Auto saves every 10 minutes, but obviously because that wasn't 10 minutes on this fight. Oh, fuck. Ow. Get fucked. I didn't auto save.
Never should have come here. Get him down!
Well, that's a bit cheeky of you. Fuck you. Well, you're going to peek out first, I bet.
No, Kenkai tired yet?
I'll give you up.
Oh, that should have been a 2-for-1 shot, man. Come on, play peekaboo me. How did I miss? Where's my spicy one? That's the one I like.
That it. Yeah.
Turn to mush.
It's cold.
I should be quite sad if I don't get the same stuff. Because that submachine gun was really nice. You're just asking to be killed. Wrong time to reload.
I'm just getting started.
Where are you, little fucker? We get it, you got a better gun.
Can't see. Don't quit, do you?
Oh, health. Wrong time to reload. How are you hitting me and I'm not getting a single hit? Oh, don't even.
I got all day.
There we go, you little fucker. Playing peekaboo fucking pays off. Hey, Rip. How's it going, dude? Hope you're doing good. How has your day been? You're migrating from health? That's not ideal, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, you have something spicy. You been back at work? Fuck you, have that, you little fuck. Don't heal. That's rude. I must admit, I have been quite lucky to not have any migraine recently. Spicy.
Yeah.
Oh fuck, that's gonna kill me. No, Churchill. Well, if Churchill ain't dead, he is now. Spicy? Or did I say that was referring to a spicy? I can't remember. I'm just yapping. Oh, did he kill himself? Ah, dickhead. Save, Onyx. It will. That counter would never stop, Lyndon. Yeah, migraines are just horrible. Spicy headaches, I call them. All your friends are dead. What are you going to do? I'm going to miss. That's what I'm going to do. I do like the look of your armor, though, so I'm going to steal that. Yes. Give me an iron brew. I need an iron blue. Gimme, gimme. Alright. Yeah, have you been back at work today, Rip, I'm guessing? I do like an iron brew. I wish I had some. I'm not going to lie. Oh, Churchill, I have shit for you to carry. Hold my junk. I need two of you on me. I need that. Yes, sleep and hydration, dude. That's what you need. Yeah, iron brew. The best drink known to man, Lyndon. I can't imagine you know what iron brew is. Oh, that could be delicious to use. There's fuck all on that armor still. Oh shit, I'm still encumbered. Churchill, come here. Oh, what do you mean you can't carry anymore? You're such a shit dog. Alright. So, remember this is spicy water. Like, very spicy water. And let's just ignore you, actually. Let me up, you fuck. I will sell everything once I get back. Why the fuck can I get up here? It's a ladder. Ladder for me. Yeah, I'm trying to get up, but I can't, unfortunately. Let's see if I can go down here. Avoiding the spicy water. I want to avoid the spicy water. Why weren't they allowed to call it iron? I mean, I know the backstory of it is because... well, I'm sure this is true, but isn't it because... they wanted something for the Scottish people to drink, because on their lunch breaks they'd go down to the pub, and we didn't want them to come back intoxicated. Isn't that correct?
God save our gracious Queen, long live our...
Oh, I've screwed myself here. Well, yeah, I thought that was the case. I couldn't remember. I remember reading something about it. Can I go behind? Oh, that's fine. I can hit you with my bonky stick. Surprise! Oh, fuck. No surprise. Ow. Surprise! I enjoy playing baseball with your heads. Finish him. He was trying to kill me at the same time. Well, I'm friendly. Why are you killing me? Well, I'm not going to win this fight, am I? Why were they trying to kill me? I was killing the enemy. No? The fuck? The fuck? Oh well. At least we saved, so I'm going to do all that initial fighting again. Ugh. Put that there. In fact, let's level up quick. Get that done. I need to start making stuff. So, armor I don't want. I need to start making bullets and stuff. Yeah, I think I underestimated a lot about you guys. Right, let's... That's good. You guys are fucking awesome. And you have really welcomed me back with open arms. And you have no idea how much I actually appreciate it. I was actually talking to the missus earlier about schedules and stuff. And, yeah, it's going to work, I think. Can you let me in, please? I'm a friendly Onyx. Ha ha! I made it! Don't know where this is, but I made it. Because they're friendly gatherers. That's why they turned hostile to me.
You'd have to be insane to take on the Tomies.
Yeah, well, I learned my lesson a minute ago. Wait, you're a chick. You sound like a dude. Right. Now, you guys are fucking awesome. It's the start of a nice little community, and I could not be happier. Oh. I don't like that song. It reminds me of Glory, Glory, Man United. I really don't like it. I don't like football. Oh, Rip, did you see the trailer for Fallout Season 2? It's fucking awesome! It looks really good. Like, really insanely good. I can't remember who came in here the other day and told me about it, but the minute it told me, it was straight on. I cannot wait until December. It is going to be so fucking awesome. The den. It's just we're going down, not fucking back up. God damn it. Hey, ATD. How's it going? Happy Friday. We're fallouting, we're listening to tunes, we're having a good time. I'm not doing too bad, thank you. How about yourself? Oh, we're only 2,000 away. I really did underestimate you guys. I might even see if I can turn into like a subathon after like 12 hours. Because I've never done one of those before. And I've always liked the idea of doing them. Did a quick stream? Nice. I didn't know you streamed, to be honest. One more person. But will you get that one more person? That's the question. Wait, fuck. I don't think Rip's put his in. Has he put it in? You haven't streamed in a year? Well, welcome back to the world of streaming. I mean, to be fair, that's pretty much the same as me. You know, I kind of had a bit of a blast from the past playing this. I kind of went, you know what? I miss it. And here we are. Right, I need to go down this way. I don't know why I keep diverting. The fucks are famished. No, that's understandable. Either way, we all appreciate it. What the fuck are you? Is that a death? Is that meant to be a death claw? I did see you put in 6k. No worries, ATD. I will catch you later. Well, he ate my dog. I don't know what these things are. But they don't sound or look very nice. There's one dead. I did see a second one. Ah, yes, there you are. I feel like you're gonna fuck me up very quickly if I come near you. You're eating spicy noodles? Nice. We like spicy noodles. Hello, you. You're doing a moonwalk. You're not a very smart creature, are you? Yeah, come on. I guarantee they're meant to be Deathclaws. What kind of spicy noodles, Rip? See, I'm debating on whether treating myself tonight after I've streamed. I don't know yet. I'm going to know about it. Nice. We like a bit of Chinese star noodles. Wait, do I have to like go right down there and back round? No, I can't do. I have to go back round here. Siege Naval Walker. There's one of those bomb things behind that wall. Oh, there's two. Please explode. Oh, wait, no. Dog. Where's dog? I fell. Oh, no. No death. Wait, why are you shooting at me? What the fuck did I do to you? You were friendly to me a minute ago. What the fuck? What blew me up? What killed me? Death. What I should do is when I increase my death counter, the sound. What was it? Oh no, what's that thing with Dark Souls? That sound. Do you reckon what? Do you reckon it went underneath the bridge? Wait, where am I? Wait, did I kill both these? I did, yeah. Did I pick up the goodies? I did pick up everything. I thought it was somewhere else on Dark Souls. I'm sure there was something else to it. I could be very well. I probably am wrong. I'm not a Dark Souls person, so I wouldn't know. Right, dog, you have my rocket launcher. Please come here. I need you. No, don't run away. No, I just said I need you. Yes, hello, human. I heard you need me, so I'm going to run the opposite fucking direction. I have one rocket. Sound. This is going to go down like a lead balloon. Go! Run! Sirenator, 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 Sirenator. Please help. I am a friendly Onyx. You're not going to kill that? Oh, come on, man. You can't kill me if I'm in here. Haha, that's what I thought. Where did he go? Whoa. I am fully cheesing this thing. Oh, fuck me! Why are you killing me? What did I do to that? Lyndon, it's like this game wants me to die. To the moon? That's weird. It literally flew. Oh, it's a trap. Haha! Fuck you. He's just waiting for me, isn't he? Yeah, fuck you. I have a lot of rads, actually. And there's a red storm coming. Fucking lightful. One of these things always happen when I'm outside. Please no, that's a door. Oh, we're not even nowhere near where I wanted to go to. Hey, this looks pretty toasty. Keep your squirty things inside. This is giving I'm going to die very quickly. Or maybe this is where the initial nuke dropped? Nuke drop site? Leeches. Yeah, leeches I'm not gonna fuck with at the moment, unless I fall down. I don't get this. I can't go around. A swim in the Thames definitely will not help. A legendary festering bloatfly. You look like you're gonna have something fun to use. I really should have saved before I took this thing on. Am I really being schooled by a fly? Oh, hello. Oh, I'm about to die. Alex. Number 30. You were literally just itching, so you were just waiting for that, weren't you? You had your cursor over that. There is no maybe about it.
Nut.
I just got nutted by a fly. I didn't save. You fucking... Wait, I thought I saved after I killed those naval walkers. Fuck! I just want to carry on with the quest line. It's all Onyx wants. I can't do Hackney because it's bugged. Why, literally, it's bugged. Oh, that's so annoying. Maybe if I go back round that way and come back down. Yeah, let's do that. So we'll go to the clap. No, we won't. We'll go back to Elephant and Castle, and then we'll go across instead. I don't actually think I can get to where I need to be from where I am. Luckily though, Lyndon, because you are a glorious subscriber, you get double the points. So just as a word as well, when we do reach this community challenge, and by the looks of things we are going to reach it, it will be next weekend. Obviously, because I'll have to do it on a weekend. All praise Pingu for being fucking amazing. Because Pingu is the fucking G. Go this way. $300 caps away. 300 away before you all see me suffer on 24 hours. It's not really a suffering though, is it? It's good fun. You'll enjoy it. I know I will. My dog somewhere there is. Fuck me, what the fuck? What the fuck? Oh, 20 hours? Yeah. Why not? Industrialist and new. Not encountered you before. Sorry, my friend, you are now irradiated. Oh, you have a laser gun. I want it.
Fucking pay for that.
No, I won't. Shut up. Fuck off, Mrs. Flamey.
You hear me?
Go away with your spicy fucking gun. You don't want a cooked onyx. Nobody wants a cup. I'm missing you every time. For fuck's sake! Painful. That escalated quickly. You. Oh. This game hates me. This fucking guy. Gazzy, how the devil are you doing, dude? Yes, Pingu was a beautiful bastard, and he dropped 18 subs on my first stream back. He is what I call a legend. How you doing, Gaz? How's life back in the States, dude? Hope you are doing good. How's door dashing going for you? Hopefully really good. Yes, Gaz, do me a favour. Time out Lyndon for infinity hours. No, I'm joking. Please don't. He's a good egg. No, I was joking. Lyndon. Oh no. Oh, now I feel bad for the guy. See now what? He's just... See, you've now made an enemy, Gaz. Oh, it's more famished. You have not seen me. You have not seen me. You have not seen me. You have seen me. Please don't hurt me. I'm a Gunix. I've been a good boy. I've been a good boy. Oh, damn. That's what you get. Yeah, you're not wrong there, Lyndon. I probably would die in 10 minutes. A lot of times in 10 minutes. There's been a lot of murder here. What you found? You mean I think I've just picked up? Oh, no, I haven't picked it up, actually. 17 Fridays? Rip! Please stop with that. Yeah, Lyndon enjoys my pain. He enjoys watching me suffer. I don't need 2 of those on me. Well, I could sell them. Dog, stop staring at nothing. No, you can't ban Riptarder. Riptana and Pingu are both immune. Well, he's been such a good boy, looking at nothing. I don't think you can carry anything, can you? Oh, you can. Okay. Nah, not those two. Those two are good eggs. Guys, I need ideas to make Pingu stop wasting points for nothing.
Not.
Oh, pre-lock waste. I mean, something big's happening. Though I am going the right way? Wrong way? Right way? I don't actually know. I'm going to say right way because it's up ahead. You are the bad one, Lyndon. You are the worst one. You're the bad influence. Oh, you are. All these fucking walls, man. Yeah, Gaz, I need an idea. Oh, that's the oval. That's sick. I'm going the wrong way, though. That'd be hilarious. That would actually be quite funny. That's like a water purifier. Surely I can't go into the oval. No, I can't. Okay, I don't think so. We're only 100 caps away. They look scary, whatever they are. 100 caps away from a 24-hour Onyx Fallout stream. Get fucked! Well, there's one dead. That's ideal. Churchill! Double nuke! Oh, fuck. Yep, see, Pingy, I fully agree with you now. However, Gaz has actually tipped us over the edge for a 24-hour stream, which I do think I'm going to turn into a subathon. So there's going to be a guaranteed 12 to 15-hour stream, regardless. And maybe do another 10 hours based on a subathon. So, Lyndon, hope you are happy, because you really want to see me apparently suffer. But joke's on you. I enjoy this. She's going to love the fucking peace and quiet, mate. She's going to watch all her programs without me going, what's this? Though, I'm probably going to get a few things thrown at me for being too loud. But hey, that's what you guys wanted. You guys have all pitched in for it, so it's clear to some of you what you guys want to see. I heard something. Oh, it's a ladybird! Oh, I thought you were an enemy then. Right, you're just an Atkins Mark 1. You're safe, you're fine, you're good. It's a bunker. This map marker's a bit bugged. Oh, I don't like the look of in there. That looks pretty scary. I saw BBs. What's this about BBs? Test his patience, please. Ow. The fuck? Yes, kill him so I don't have to. I don't want to accidentally shoot one of you guys because it will really fuck me up. Oh, you're fucking up the robots. Shit! Oh, don't hit the robot. Don't hit the robot. Don't hit the robot. Don't hit me. What the fuckity fuck?
Not.
Not! Not now! God, these things are horrible. I don't know what they are. I'm gonna run out of bullets. I'm going to run out of bullets. It's like a scene of a horror film. You just know that thing's gonna fucking mutate. Ah, I don't know what to fucking use here. Oh, reliable! Fuck! Don't come near me. And there's a fucking mine! Fuck! Oh! Now I can kill you. Freely. Oh, no I can't. Fuck. That was a bit close. How the fuck did I survive that? I did. I got a legendary bit of armor, I believe. How the fuck did I survive? I don't know how I survived that. I shouldn't have. I should not have survived that one bit. I mean, I can kind of take a educated guess and say it's something to do with, well, obviously 40k, but... Oh, a heavy service revolver. Yeah, Pingu also, being the legend that he is, he bought me 40k Darktide. I will be playing at some point. Hell, I might even do it on the fucking 24-hour stream. Oh, there's nothing there. I'm not going to waste my time in that. Where's this apparent bunker? See someone move out there. I'm fucking seeing things. I mean, I'm sure... What the fuck are these? A bug plant. Oh, that's what I saw. This looks very bougie. Where's this bunker? I'm so close to, apparently. See, Helldivers is something I still want to pick up. I don't need that stuff. Oh no, I needed that though. Oh no, I dropped my main armor. Fuck. Ooh, I can't lose my main armor. I will 100% play Dark Tide. It's been on my wish list for quite a while. I just wasn't able to afford it quite some time. Because, you know, bills. Tippy taps. It's a burb. Royal Armament Depot. Whoa! Very radioactive water. Okay. Not go down there. Right, we're kind of sidetracked, so we need to go down here. What the hell's SM2? Oh, poor fox. 2 balls. Oh, Space Marine 2. Okay, that makes sense. Hello, little fox.
Yeah.
Okay, bye-bye, little fox. Mr. Blobby touched me here. Let's find out what Mr. Blobby touched. What the fuck are you predicting? Onyx death in 10 minutes. That's a guarantee. That's easy money for anyone. Oh, that makes you think, fuck, what's that gun called? I love it in Fallout 76. The Gauss Rifle, that's the one. You knew. I fucking love the Gauss Rifle. Why is everything fenced off? So annoying. Because you can bet whatever you want in them. What if you wanted to bet 0 caps, you could bet 0 caps. If you wanted to bet 5,000, you could bet 5,000. You know what I want right now? A bed so I can sleep. Hey, keep it on there, mate. It'll be interesting. Oh, hello. You don't want to talk? Okay, fuck you then. Got a spare bed. Oh, hello, Churchill. Your Steam situation? Wow, what's your Steam situation? I mean, to be fair, I haven't played 76 in a hot while. I was obsessed with it. It's probably because of where he lives. Yeah, region blocked. It's a shame. I would love to get back into Fallout 76. Praise be the Emperor. I should probably stash away my goodies before I carry on. I mean, they are good books to find, I'm not gonna lie. I love those type of bugs. Right. Have I... Right. Let's go back up to Covent Garden just to dump a load of shit. We get too cucumbered. So there, dude. Enjoy the gym. Hopefully I will catch you later. Appreciate you dropping in, mate. I've just realised though, with the 24-hour stream, it means I'm going to have to eat. What about cooking? Is it going to be a IRL cooking stream as well at the same time? I don't think so. I don't have a slow cooker. No, I do have a slow cooker, but I've got 3 very fat cats that will get into a slow cooker. I need to sell some shit. That's what I'm going to do now, actually. Sell some stuff. So let's only carry things I'm going to sell. Weapons, I've got 3 of you. Don't need 3 of you. I want the mines. Don't need 3 of you. Don't need 2 of you, but don't know why that range is different. I definitely don't need you. Don't need you. I don't need you. I'll keep you 2 for now. Don't need you. You're kind of obsolete to me now, but I'll keep 1 of you. Book the cat. That is a bannable offence, Lyndon. How fucking dare you? I wouldn't do such a thing to my poor babies. No. That is timeout worthy. And I'm going to tell you wow, before the 24-hour stream. How's that make you feel? Huh? Huh? Hope you feel bad now. Surely all this does not equate to 134. Oh wow, it does. Okay, damn. My lord, please. My lord. Please, my lord. No. I'll amp my flame. I'm not getting rid of that. Also, if you realize that 5455. Oh well, so what? Get rid of that. Don't need that. I'm not going to use that, am I? Nor that. Princess Goose has just asked if a 24-hour stream will be happening. I have said yes. The target has been made because of you fuckers. Don't need any of those. I definitely want to keep you. Spy pistol's fun to have. We can LARP. Get rid of that one. If I see it, then absolutely you can. I would very kindly ask you don't. But I know what you're fucking like, Lyndon. You're probably there itching already, just waiting. What the fuck's Thames Haven? So yeah, I will have to, and I'll have to put a message in my Discord when the 24-hour stream would be happening. But it will be happening, 100%. Oh, you'll be the first person to play Pingy. You'll know my reason why it's happening. If it wasn't for you messaging and messaging and messaging, I wouldn't be doing this. I would have just caved into my itch, but having you kind of say that you were really enjoying it gave me that push and gave me that edge. I have AIDS. Help.
Let's take a look at you.
Curing an addiction costs 150 tickets. Holy fuck.
Can I help you?
Yes, give me my fucking money back.
Certainly. Here's what I've got.
You've rinsed me there, sunshine. Not interested in any weapons, my good sir? How much would you give me for all this? 284. Let's see if other Mr. Weird Face Man gives me more. Oh. Yes. I bought a fuckload of ammo. I mean, a fuckload of ammo. Which I don't actually have much of anymore.
Kind does have two eyes, right?
Nope, it does not. Where the fuck was the gunman?
Kill each other. We'll be safe here.
That's the way we'll call it. Investments and warning shots. Do tend to lead in my deaths quite a bit. Fucking move, iguana. Sorry, Doc. Don't mind me. Ah, here he is.
A fresh dry lander. What are you buying? Right.
Well, to be fair, I'm pretty sure I'm about to walk into one very shortly, Lyndon. So the opportunity to already fuck me is going to be very rare shortly. Okay, you don't really give me much of a choice there, do you? I should have brought that scrap with me as well, actually. Made some bullets. The machete looks fun to use. Serrated machete. That sounds even funner.
Thameshaven.
When you make bullets, is it literally one bullet,
Humans have
one
basic
round you make?
manners.
Wow. That's pretty sad. At least in 76 you can make multiple rounds. That's quite painful. Very painful, actually, in fact. Well, okay. Let's fill up Churchill with some scroop. And then we will carry on. I mean, I fucking hope so. You took... Wait, what? What offer? Wait, what offer did I miss? What offer did I miss? I'm sorry. There is no offer. What offer? Guys, what did I miss? One of the best songs. I'm looking at the wrong fucking thing. Right. Junk. How much junk do I actually have on me? See, I thought so. I didn't see any. I couldn't see any other messages. So you can't rescind an offer that was never there, silly goose. Can you? You sent me a screenshot. That 100% did not send. Twitch clearly hates you. However, that is the sort of message I love to see. Have I decided what you want for food yet? If you give me 30-minute warning by the end of the stream, she will make me food. How amazing. How amazing is she? I mean, I'll be honest with you. I don't quite know what I want still. I'm very, very undecided still. I'm kind of torn between treat myself to something. I don't trust myself making that pizza. No, I'm getting food. Absolutely. Most likely a takeaway, but I don't know yet. It's very up in the air still. What's cheating? What's cheating, Lyndon? I'm not cheating. Am I? I mean, okay, tell you what. How about, hear me out. Give me ideas. Then what I'll do is I'll send you a photo of the food, so at least you'll get the visual notes of how good it is. You want 2 photos? Okay, I can do that. Right, be like that. Plus you just say, what did you have? What did you eat? Made me hungry. I don't need to carry both guns. No, because that's actually quite a decent one. You gotta share it with the class, Doodle. A baguette with cream cheese and roast chicken. I fuck with that. That sounds really good. That sounds really good. That has just made my belly rumble just a little bit. But did you get a photo? That's the question here. Five. 18. That's still not. There's not a lot of good armor in this apart from what I'm wearing. I'm trying to work it out in my head, and it's either I'm dumb, which is probably the case. I'm sorry, what? Pig's gastrointestinal tract filled with potatoes and meat here. Potato and sausages. Nice. To be fair though, I do like just bog standard meat and potatoes. You kind of can't beat it. I have no aid. Right, let's get geared up. I can't believe he didn't send us a photo either. That's just rude to Doodle. I mean, there's no translation for sausage in your language. I don't believe that for 1 second. There has to be. I mean, take that as you will, Doodle, but I expect it to be a, a safe for work photo. So I know what you're fucking like. You'll just presume I mean something else. You know, you're a little fucker like that. Yeah, see, I knew exactly what you were thinking. You dirty fuck. I'm pretty sure there is. It's just sausage. No? Or am I misinterpreting that? Thank you. Literally a sausage. Why literally a sausage? Yes? Exactly. You know, I've seen people put all sorts in a sausage. Alright, come here, you dumb dog. Gonna make some ammunition. Like, there's something I saw the other day, and it was fucking delicious. It was like a jalapeno cheese sausage. It looks so good. So good. What do you mean the fuck? Mate, it sounds amazing. Well, traditionally, you use the guts as the casing. Traditionally, you would. I don't know, it's like some synthetic, I don't know what they use nowadays.
Watch where you're going.
Shut the fuck up, you.
Sorry about that, human.
Yes, you fucking will be sorry about that. I have gone the wrong way.
Not.
Yet again. Not in me. I need more GIF ideas. Lyndon, Doodle, I need you to send me some GIFs so I can add them into the stream. More the merrier.
Nothing like a swim in our Thames to make you feel alive.
Where's me dog? Rip has been nutting me. For, sounds so wrong. Rip has been nutting my channel for years. Quite literally, for years. I have a feeling I've forgotten how crafting works in Fallout.
Your kind does have 2 eyes, right?
I have no fertilizer. I can't make fucking anything. Well, that was a fucking wasted
The
trip.
surface world gets louder and louder each day.
Oh, for fuck's sake. So annoying. Do you reckon if I just leave? Ooh. I can make flamer fuel though. I like flamer fuel. Do you reckon if I just transfer all this junk in here, it'll stay? Nah, but then if I start making shit in the base, then yeah, I won't do that.
Smell that? It's the Thames calling to us.
No, it's you. You're the one who smells. Come on, Churchill. Take. Oh no, not my aid. I need my aid. Lyndon, I like the idea. Ideally, that I need gifts. Gifts with a green screen on, so I can remove the green screen. Yes. Did you take my junk, or did I take it all back? I took it all back because I'm an idiot. But yeah, food. I still have no. Yes, green screen. So you can get gifts that have a green screen behind them, and that's what I use. I want them so I can do so for these things. Like this is a green screen. That's a green screen. Now, do you get the idea? See, use the keyboard cat. I love the keyboard cat. The keyboard cat is my favourite one. By a country mile. I fucking love the keyboard cat. You know, I'm actually really happy that as a little community, we've actually smashed that target in only a few days. Makes me really happy that. I'm really happy. Thank you, guys. It is cute, isn't it? Lyndon, you are a tippy-tap supremacist. Any opportunity. You know what I need to do, actually? I need to give you your own little command. So whenever I die, you do exclamation mark Onyx or Onyx death or Onyx died or lol. And some noise appears. I don't know. Yeah. That actually works, Lyndon. I can do some with that. You want a laughing sound when I die? Consider it done. I will make that happen for the next stream. Right, come here, dog. Right, no, come here. Stop. Stop. Stay. You shall continue your search. It's like you search for onion rings all over again. Oh, this one's more successful. I had onion rings last night. I hope you're jealous. Right. There you go. I'm not gonna send some to fucking Poland. I mean, I could if you want. But I don't think they'd be very nice. Tell you what, I'll trade you. I'll trade you an onion ring for some Polish meat. How's that sound? In a non-weird way, of course. Because you can take that in quite a few ways. If it was Doodle's mindset, then it'll be in a filthy mindset. But I mean, because German... Not German. You're not German. I mean, that's fair enough. That's not why I was interpreting London. In the slightest. Right, let's venture. There's 100% going to be a death soon. 100%. I wouldn't know, personally. I'll just have to take your word for that one. Is that road going up? I sure for shit hope so. Good answer. See? Doodle's trying to get me in trouble. Because that's what Doodle does best. Doodle gets me in all the trouble. Even in Foxhole, he causes drama for me. And he knows it too. How the fuck am I going to get up there? Are these special onyx steps? Nope, they are not special onyx steps. I don't like this song. Can I climb up this rock? Not really. This looks like Raider country. Oh, well, yeah, absolutely for you, Doodle. Not for me. I'm very happily taken. Yeah, who would have known? It's not like we've got nearly fucking 3,000 hours in that fucking game. They look like enemies. I need to go over there. But they're not hostile to me. That's a good one, Lyndon. That would actually be a great one to have, actually. Oh, okay, the Tommies. Okay, I can put my gun away. We're not going to kill me. Well, I'm not asking you to. Oh, there's one here. For fuck's sake. What you got? Nah, not worth stealing. Don't mind me. Brixton! Fucking Churchill just barges his way in. He doesn't give a fuck for no one. Oh, it's Brixton, not Brixton. Silly me.
I see strange storm clouds in your horizon. Be careful.
Roider. Your mother must have hated you as a child. What the fuck? It's Chief Roach. Hello?
Greetings, adventurer. Welcome to Brickton. I am Roach. You may think of me as a leader, but I merely embody the Canyon's desire. Before we begin, I must ask, why is a raven like a writing desk?
He really did. That's how I imagine you, Lyndon.
I like your style. Now, how may I help you?
Sign my
I've
petition.
never signed a petition in my life. Don't believe in signatures. What is it for? Oh, I don't think you should go there. Quite the
I
negative
know. I play
place.
Foxhole too.
I could be persuaded, however, if you were to assist us in our altercations with the Tommies.
No, I like
Apologies.
the Tommies.
Kenyon calls me aside. I humbly welcome you back to the land of Brigton. Why are you wearing clothes? 'Cause someone told you to? 'Cause someone forced you to? I am merely
Because it's
following
normal.
my instincts. The one thing the Kenyon gave me in her infinite wisdom.
I think so.
The Tommies think they're here to civilize us.
But I like the
simply because we
Tommies.
don't follow their beliefs and codes. But tell me, what worth is there in an ideology that has destroyed the world 10 times over and left it to rot? I'd take dying from preventable diseases 1,000 times over destroying the world with my ignorance. The outsider supposes their toesies are rosies, but the outsider supposes erroneously. That is the name so
It rhymes.
kindly gifted to us by the Tommies, alongside the mother of all headaches. That reminds me of an important question. What came first? The chicken or the egg?
What came first? The chicken or the egg or the brain? You got wow. You got recruited by a random regiment ran by an asshole. Are you just describing 420th? Rip, as logical as your answer is, not on there. Brain, the egg, then the chicken. Should we go to brain? Your answer makes more sense, Doodle.
You're perfect. I have a job for you.
They're
Listen
perfect.
well. The Tommies have been attempting to contact an isolated tribe in nearby Croydon. We hoped they'd abandon the idea.
You've only
once
ever
they
been in the
realised
best
path
regiment
was
around.
blocked by 2 large gaps.
Stone.
But no. Instead,
You will
they
come
were
back.
emboldened,
I
and
hope.
their
You and
mighty
Eppie.
Lieutenant
I miss Eppie.
Doyle sent an expeditionary force. 2 soldiers, 1 second lieutenant, and a few Bricktonians who were there to build bridges, literally and metaphysically. Except those plans failed when the half-built bridges collapsed, plunging all but 2 of my tribe's people.
I
into
do
the river
believe
of
that.
lava. You can see where this is going, right?
I don't want to kill him.
A good story shouldn't be rushed, strange adventurer. Lieutenant Doyle blames Brickton for the incident and has vowed to raise our taxes to make up for this incident.
I've told him
Taxes
he can
we
have that
never
revenge
agreed
if
to
he
pay.
wants.
We seek nothing but peace, and so we beseech you, go to Lieutenant Doyle and convince him to choose peace.
Okay, I don't want to piss off the Tommies. Because I like the Tommies. And thank you for the posture check. I actually need that. Back was starting to hurt. Oh, I need a better chair. So how much are you paying me?
If you could change Lieutenant Doyle's mind, we'll pay you a fraction of the additional taxes.
Oh.
But if you can't do it, well, then I suppose those tickets will go straight to Doyle's despicable palms.
Tickets. Tommies.
My tribe's dealings with the Tommies are far more important at the moment.
No, we're not.
Yes?
Yes. Okay, well. He does have a better uniform. But
May
goodbye.
the Canyon bless you with luck.
Why, thank you, you strange individual. Churchill found something. What you found, boy? You found something I can take. Oh, you're a good boy. You're a good boy. Do a trick. Do a trick. That's the best he has, walking. He doesn't have a better uniform anyway. This is an elite uniform. This screams colonization again. It would appear that was it, just a bark. Reckon he get annoyed if I stepped in his bed? Yeah, probably. He'll probably try and join me. Oh wait, is there more? Oh yeah, I just need to fucking... Ruin his pony regiment and something, they're all plebs. I'm a great leader. I'm really not. I'm the worst leader around. I'm dreadful. I am horrific. Sack me. We're doing BT production next. Are you returning? I hope so. I know, right? He's that useful. He just barks. Yeah. Let's go speak to Lieutenant Doyle. Lieutenant Doyley.
Rule Britannia, Britannia rule the waves. Britons never, never, never shall be slaves. Ah.
Oh, okay, he does look a bit like a cunt, doesn't he?
Stand down. Wait, you're not one of us. Who are you?
That's a good point. You are my right-hand man in that, and I do need you back, actually, for next war.
That's not for me to decide. But, having taken a quick glance, I think we could make something out of you. I'd stop by the Imperial War Museum. Unless you're a rabble-rouser.
Oh, I didn't know I could actually join the Tommies. Okay, that's useful.
Ah, Roach. I knew you seemed like a tree hugger to me. I'll tell you the same thing I've told him countless times. Either they own up to their mistakes and establish contact with the Croydonians.
It won't be... Well, I don't know yet. I don't think it'll be an update war.
This year. And God knows what else we'll have in store for next year.
I'm probably going to take it easy next war, something light. Like just a small tank facility or something. But once we know when the update war's going to happen, the war before that, I won't be playing because I want to be fresh as a daisy playing that war. Because Airborne is going to be fucking massive. And yes, Lyndon, I will offer parking spaces for you. Don't you worry.
Nonsense. It was their bridge that collapsed and claimed the lives of my men.
And Buggy? What Buggy?
As far as I see it, taxes are a small price to pay for their crime. Yes, that's precisely what I said. Switch on, won't you? Now,
Alright.
is there
He's a
anything
knobhead,
else
isn't he?
I can do to stop you
You
from
are more than
wasting my
welcome,
time?
Lyndon. But if it does get taken, I don't hold I'm not responsible. Yeah, exactly. That's the kind of feeling I'm having in a moment with Foxhole.
On the double, then. Move
Especially this war. I've not played much this war, but it's from what I have, it's too long. Like 2 months of solid back and forth. It's ridiculous. Right, I can't go that way. So we have to go up and across. I wish I was wearing my Tommy's uniform now. Yeah, I might accidentally use your tank. Sorry. No, I wouldn't really. I would store it though. Yeah, I won't. That won't be happening. Don't worry. Oh yeah, I have an old person's lift. Sorry, dog. It's been nice knowing you. Oh. Or Churchill. It's fine. He'll come back. I hope. I might have permanently killed my dog. Churchill is now one with the lava. I mean, he's barking, so he must be fine. Yeah, the thing is, so for what we're trying to achieve in Bone now, we kind of want to, well, we want to be growing bigger. And to do that, we need to facilitate bigger things. The way I'm seeing it is a lot of work as a smaller regiment while we grow to become a bigger regiment. No worries, Pingu dude. I will let you know when the 24-hour stream is happening. I will be back on Monday night. So I will see you then. Rest easy, mate, and I will catch you later. I hope my dog appears, because that actually makes me quite sad if I've lost him forever. Sound. That's a death. We're not even that bad, Lyndon, to be honest. We're really not. I mean, you know that we're not. And if Doodle stayed this long, you know it's not that bad. But yeah, I mean, to be fair, Doodle, I think we have around 6 facility people now, maybe 7. So it shouldn't be too bad. It's just the consistency. Fortunately, having Anarchist join us helped a load. Yeah, I know. I get that, unfortunately. Perfect song. Exactly. No, I know your experience, dude.
I see strange storm clouds.
We are, you know, I am trying proactively to try and alleviate that sort of thing. But notice, you can't see my ammo. Let's just move this up. So now you can actually see my ammo. There you go. Maybe over to the side a bit more, so I'm not too much in the way. There we go. So at least now you can see my ammo count. Oh mate, I know. Honestly, it's one of those games, which is why you know I want to try and alleviate the burnout that we were all experiencing, because it was horrible. Yeah, I've just realised that it should be down there. But, you know, me being an Onyx, I completely forgot to show you guys. I need to speak to Mr. Dickhead again.
Stand down.
Shut up.
You're not one of us.
No, I'm Bella.
Who are you?
No, I mean, it's not bad.
I'd stop.
But,
Either they
you know,
own up
two
to their
people
mistakes,
for
then
a regiment our
establish contact with
size,
the
it's yeah, it's
Crydonians,
not
or-
ideal. Especially when we try and
Yes,
do
that's
Logi as well at the
precisely
same
what I
time.
said. Switch on, won't you? Now, on the double then.
You know, because it'll be nice. Oh, I don't want this rat storm. I want to sleep. Is there a chair or something I can wait in? Not that special needs chair. No, no chairs, no chairs, no chairs. Well, looks like I'm taking your bed, Mr. Weird Guy. Yeah, I would like 5 or 6 ready to work. Use keep do supply. Yeah, and you know, I have spoken about that as well. But obviously, until we've tried what I want to try, I can't really see if it works. That'll do. But yeah, it's one of those. You know, it's catch-22 every other day. It's a shame though, you know, because there were good people that we had. There's just loads of things that we need to fine tune.
How I wish we would stay like this forever.
Oh, that rat storm's still here. Ideal. You know, like in a real world, I like to do more facility stuff, but you know, let's be honest, that's not going to happen. Shut up, Churchill. We also won't be doing a lot of things ourselves anymore. A lot of things we're going to just buy from elsewhere. Well, sorry, Churchill. I did call your name. Bye-bye. At least Churchill won't be child grilled anymore. Maybe he's smart enough to use that lift. Well, yeah, exactly. Which is what I think we're going to do. For like, what? 5,000 components. No, sorry, not 5. For about, I think I can get them for about 10,000 components. But yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking. I mean, in a real world, I think we're going to be based more on a salvage field for ease of M-subs and other supplies. Import sulfur and whatnot. Oh. Wise terminal. Okay. But you know, there's plans in place to make it a bit easier for everyone. I need a key. I also need steel, wood, and screws. Screws is not going to be easy to find. Oh, look, he survived.
Approach and identify yourself.
Surprise! How did that hurt me so much so quickly? You don't hate us, you hate an individual. Behave with that. Fuck you! Oh, I forgot all about that. Oh. Screw you, Lyndon. You did single-handedly kill me. I hope you're happy. Oh, okay. Straight away. Sound. Clearly he wanted the taste of kryptonics. I want to at least get this quest done before I jump off. I was wasted a stim pack. What the fuck? Triple kill. We didn't make it 4? Probably. Why am I struggling so much? I shouldn't be struggling this much. Yeah, go on, Churchill. Fuck him up.
Commencing attack on hostile target. Kill, kill, kill.
This ain't gonna be a quad.
Continued resistance is unlawful.
If he walks this way, he's gonna hit the mine.
Engaging hostile target.
I mean, why don't you? I mean, no, please don't, actually. I beg. You wouldn't do it to me again. You like me too much. Yeah, get fucked. But this one I forget about a mine I placed. You'll lose a nuke next time. I haven't got a nuke. Or do you mean the little nuke in here? That would disturb me, actually. That really would disturb me. I want to just pick up everything. I don't know what I'm going to need, what I'm not going to fucking need now. I love how this is what's left of Croydon. What blue mark? I don't know what blue mark you're referring to. Fuck. That post box looks very suspicious to me. I fucking knew it! How did that not kill you? It's gonna kill me. Oh, it's just a badge. That's all it is. If you click on your name, you should be able to choose what badges you want on or off. This is very dark. Oh, fuck off. This is going to be full of these things, isn't it? I don't like these things. Stupid tin can. Storage room keys. Tickets. I like a nodding cow. Oh, I didn't need to unlock that. I'm an idiot. Just wasted a pin. That was very stupid of me. So, note to self, those post boxes are going to be fucking everywhere. Out of order? I don't think so. I think you're lying to me. The wall's nearly over, Lyndon. We've advanced quite hard. The war is very nearly over. I feel like I'm missing something. Because I am missing something. Fuck. I really hope there's a ghost rival in this. I really do. See, as much as I would love to play Star Citizen, I can never, ever, 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 ever get into a fucking server. It was ridiculous the amount of times I had to wait. Like, literally, I'd have to leave it overnight running and waiting and queuing for a server. It was that bad. What the fuck? Honestly, it's ridiculous. But that may be because I was only ever playing on the open beta days. Sorry, not open beta. When they give free weekends and stuff. You own a game pack? What do you mean? You can own game packs? I mean, how often do you play? Because it is on my list to pick up. The only thing that puts me off is for queue times. But if, like you said, that's because I was playing on the open beta, on the open gameplay things, then I'll actually buy the game. Not this month though, because I'm about to spend fucking 200 quid on. Oh dear. So I just bought gig tickets for Bad Omens, and I've seen them in Ireland. What can I? Oh, send him Mutt. Okay. Never had queues. Right, okay. In that case, then I might buy it. Right, let's stop using my shotgun for a bit. Loves for death, peace of mind. Oh, fuck yeah. Welcome back, guys. How was the gym? Your chest is ouchies. This is why I don't gym. I enjoy this. I'm used to queues and I'm used to queue hole. What can I say? Ooh, legendary. That's gonna fucking kill me. Take me home to the place. Oh, fucking mutated. Oh, dog meat, no. It's like that scene out of I Am Legend. I'm just, yeah. I mean, that's fair enough, guys. Things like your former army as well, so you kind of have the physique. I have an enraging lead pipe. I can pipe people now.
Huh?
Huh? Prepare to be piped! Once I get in. Navy. Sorry, my apologies. I should have just said armed forces, really. Surprise!
That it?
This isn't going well. Oh, wow, that worked. That's more like it. You can't time me out. I'm the streamer. It's just getting a bit hairy though for my liking. And this pipe is nowhere near as good as I hoped it was going to be. You fucker. That's a clever way of thinking about it, though, Lyndon. I'll give you that. Oh no, I can't go through there. There's a door. Yeah, you know what to do, guys. I'm joking, don't. They'll send me a message again. I don't know who this is, so I'm not going to raid it yet. I think I need to go up here. But it's not telling me to. It's saying I need to go through a door down there. Oh yeah, because I need to build a fucking thing. Duh. What time is it? Oh, it's only 9 o'clock. Oh yeah, this looks like it's going to be fun. Well, how the fuck am I supposed to get out of here? Hey, dude. How's it going? I appreciate that, mate. Hope being on the front page is helping you. And it's giving you some love. What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh, so figure some out. You know the restaurant, so treat it like dirt. Oh, fuck. What's it called? And yes, give Jay a shout out. He's a legend. If you don't follow up tots, 104th, Foxhole, Twitch partner, absolute legend, has supported me for everything. Dicks! That's the one. They give you hats and all sorts. But yeah, I've heard of that place. You're gonna push me into the fucking... You guys deserve to burn. If you do go, you'll have to, A, send me a photo of the food. And B, let us know how it is. Ow. Send a shiver down my spine. What the fuck are these things? Fuck yeah. Gaz POV. Sure, go for it. I don't mind. As long as it's not your Twitch. Fuck your Twitch, no, I'm joking. Yeah, go for it, dude. I will send you 2 photos of my food if I get a takeaway. I don't know where the fuck I'm going. These things are horrible, man. What do you mean I have 0 chance to hit? Oh, yeah. That's just Gaz's little website project. I'm getting absolutely butt-fucked. Yeah, mean is an understatement of these sucking things. Ah. Bet. Have you updated your website at all? You have not. You have not updated it. Why not? You have a laptop, don't you? Ah, good. You should do. Give me 1 second, day. Dropping a lurk on someone's channel. Right, I don't need to go in there. That's scary. So we're not going to do that. You saw your laptop. He probably said a very naughty word. And if he did, then Gaz, get your hammer ready. Right. So what is it I needed? I'm not walking back down across that fucking bazaar again. I allow it. Whatever Lyndon said, allow it. I want to hear. I want to know what I said. That's because you don't hold anything back. I need a quote system. That's what I need. I need to set up a quote system. So, steel, wood, screws. Yeah, I know. I couldn't get it to work. Key not found. Force bar dicks again, pop fucked. Oh yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, that is, the probably is a bit far. So, steel, wood, screws. I'm pretty sure I've got that back at the base. Well, back at the civil land, we'll say. Is it? Let's take a look. Quotes. Oh. Let's have a quick look while that's loading. I remember seeing something when I looked at earlier, because I've been dicking around with a few... Sorry, excuse me. With a few ideas. Would it be an action? It would be, wouldn't it? Never mind. We have unloaded. Okay, I'll have to take a look. Do I have steel and stuff? Surely I amassed enough steel. Yeah. Right. Let's just unload all this and scrap all my junk. Sounds weird to say out loud. Yeah, because I remember there was... Because I've got the 1.0 now. And it's a massive difference. But I was dicking around with it and seeing what I can and can't do. If there's anything new. And there is. There's quite a few bits new. It's not where you can scrap all junk nowadays. Oh, fuck, I've got more. Or am I thinking of Fallout 76 when you scrap all junk? I'm pretty sure I'll be able to figure out, to be fair. Especially if it's in the core side of things. It should be fairly easy, fairly straightforward. Yeah, it's not 4, is it? Okay. So it was what? 20 wood, 20 steel, and nails, or screws. I don't think I've got any screws. Oh, there's one screw. Yeah, I think screws is going to be something that's going to fuck me. Yeah, spring, steel, steel, yeah. Swip, okay, no, there's 3. Uh... 4. 5, 6. Oh, I've got 14 there. I'm an idiot. Six, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right, that should be enough. Well, whether or not it moans at me, though, I don't know. It's in the UI parts, network coding. What's supposed to say? Yeah, I thought there was. I'll take a look after this stream. What do you mean I can't fast travel to that area? Thank you. I can. No worries, Lyndon, dude. Thanks for hanging out and chilling out. I appreciate it, mate. You're in my Discord, so you'll see the ping for the 24-hour stream. Would it be random quotes, though, Gaz? I was 50 wood. I've only got 7. Fuck. Okay, then yeah, that's definitely something I wanted to sort out. So I'll take a look at that. Oh, I do love a double recliner. Even better that it was free. That's even better. We fucking love a free double sofa. Even better that it's a recliner as well. Right. Turns out I'm an idiot. Wait, no. What? No, maybe I am the idiot. I am the idiot. So wood. I need all the wood. So, 2 there. Steel, wood. Yeah, I'll take you both. Wood, 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 wood. Acid, acid. Don't need steel anymore. But I'm going to take it just in case because I might be an idiot again. That's why I have Churchill. Churchill is going to hold my junk. No pun intended. Steel, take it all. And that. You have wood. You have cloth. Don't want cloth. No worries, Gaz, mate. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate you, mate. I will catch you later on. You're on my Discord as well, so you will 100% get pings when I go live. Should you choose to tune in. Obviously, no obligation. I just appreciate you being here. Plastic, wood. Oh yeah, I've got loads of them. Plastic, lead. They're gonna make me over encumbered. Holy fuck. I'm not gonna have enough wood here, I don't think. I reckon I'm gonna be just short of wood. Like, just short. I don't know, actually. Maybe we might have enough. Now I'm encumbered. How much do you reckon we have? Oh, just enough. Come and hold my junk, dog. Don't look at me like that. It's useful having a dog. Very useful. Pop this song. Start from the top again. So I love this song. Churchill's a fucking Brahmin. That's what he is. He's my version of Graham on Meat Week. That's actually giving me the itch to play Fallout 76 again, but that is just waiting for my life to disappear. So, me and the missus, we bought a Wii not so long ago because we felt a bit nostalgic. And she's a bit competitive. So she's been learning how to play baseball on there. And she's just sent me this, almost challenging me. Challenge accepted. That's what I say to that. Place in your heart. We actually bought it just so we could play Guitar Hero. Wow, okay. Thanks. Look, I'm all for the whole... What do you mean not enough resources? 20 steel, 50 wood, 10 screws. Ten screws, 20 steel. Eh? I don't get that. That to me that looks like I have enough resources. Why are you not letting me use you? Mate, do you know how long it's going to find me to find raw mats for wood and screws? Sorry, for wood and steel. Hold on. Okay, apparently I'm an idiot. I have no tickets, Doodle. But it's fine, I have an idea. After a quick a quick Google, I need to just do something. And apparently you can scrap stuff. Alakazam. Apparently, anyway. So it looks like I need to make stuff to be able to scrap it, which makes no sense whatsoever. But if that's what I need to do, then that's what I need to do. Alakazam. No, I don't want wood prefabs. No, I don't want any of that. I want resources. No, not that. Crafting. I have no wood at all. Okay, I am an idiot. Maybe if I just drop everything. Gimme. This is the longest way of doing it possible. This is the most unuseful way of doing it. Transfer. But before I do this, because none of my luck. Quick save. I'll fucking lose all my stuff. Miss junk. I'll store this in here. Then scrap this. I should get all just the rare materials. Rare materials? Raw materials. Theoretically. That worries me. Contents transferred to the workbench. No, that's not what I wanted. Wood? Did that work? Steel 60? No, it did not work. God damn it. Oh. I just want the raw materials, man. Why are you fucking with me? I don't think I've got enough wood full stop, actually. Oh, I should do. Right, let's try that again. I don't want power. Don't want it. No, I don't want any of that shit. Store. No, I don't want stores. I want crafting. Oh, okay, I'm an idiot and not leveled up anything, so I can't make anything. I can make a cigarette roller. Oh, I could do this. The land of cookers. Was it worth it? Fuck no. You only got half the cost back. Mate, yeah, I'm looking for a fucking army. Watch this not work. Where's me wood? Aha! It did work. Not enough. More cooking stoves. It's not a cop-out, guys. If it works, it works. Not duplicating in 76 all over again. Right, surely that should be fine now. Not. That made me nut. Yes, store all. Right, wood. No, steel first. So 20 steel. I only need 10 of you. I'm not taking more than one hit. Steel, 20. Wood, 20. Watch this not work as well. Well, no. It was 50 something, weren't it? Was it 50 steel? You know, I was going to take all the fucking steel. I don't think I have enough steel. But it said 20. It said 50, didn't it? Well, I'm going to take all the steel I've got anyway. Oh, it's 50 wood. Ah. Balls. Right, okay. What else can I build? I'm wasting so much wood doing this. What do you say? What do you play 76 on, Doodle? Do you play it on PlayStation or PC? Because I always had it on PlayStation. Okay. Because I predominantly played it on PlayStation. Maybe because I didn't have a PC at the time. Please tell me. Steel, yes. Wood. It makes no sense. That makes no sense to me whatsoever. Nah, right. What I will do, though, is I'll end it there for now. Because it's 9:30. I need to grab some food still. And we have been on for... actually, hold on a minute. Hold on. Before I do that, can I scrap those 2 towers? You might have wood. Actually, yes. Yes. No, I'm not going to end it now. Because I'm an idiot. More scrap. I'm not going to end it. Ignore me. Neurotics. I think I was just getting annoyed. Oh, don't. I literally am doing scrooping in Fallout now. Scroop's in my blood. I just can't escape Scroop. I see a scrap, I'm like, Scroop. Though, at least this will 100% give me enough. Oh. Well, I like to think so anyway. Definitely enough steel. Wood, maybe not. Children yearn for Scroop. Surely I have enough. What? I don't think it went into my inventory, actually. I think it might have gone to the storage. Come on, wood. Oh, yeah. Now it's talking. So 20 steel, 50 wood. Oh, whoops. Right, let's give that another go. That should be right now, surely. Oh! You're the only ever one. Service says... Huzzah! Oh, no. No, Churchill. Churchill, no! Churchill is now one with Bridge. Will I hit it? Not quite. Don't run into the mines, you fuck. Missed. Missed again. Don't run away. My aim is dreadful. Got him. Oh no. You have no arms. Oh yeah. Sit down. That's going to be very irradiated. Okay, useful. You didn't have anything useful on you at all. This looks like it's going to hurt me a lot. Yeah. My aim! Is atrocious. Oh, I fucked up. Oh, no. I did fuck up. Honestly, this thing is by far my favourite gun in this mod. Just everything about it, it just fires so nicely and the accuracy is spot on. I don't think I was meant to go in there. Do I have to go in there? Fuck me, you prick! Keep that coffee hot. Well, let me get a crit on you. Fuck, missed. He fucking scared the shit out of me. Bye-bye. How did I not kill you? Oh, I'm so annoyed I'm running out of these bullets, man. I don't have any skill points in upgrades, actually, to be honest with you. I've actually been focusing on everything else. It is something I need to fucking do, though, on my next few upgrades. No, there is one thing that I do wish that was native out in this mod, though, and that's power armor. Like, if it had some UK style armor, that'd be quite cool. You're kidding me. I mean, to be fair, even if it's like a mid-game thing, and it's quite, you know, not overpowered, but a nice, comfortable powered. Hold on. So that said, that needed... Don't say more. 50 wood again. Oh my god. A support beam? Do you build with support beam? Or do I have to find the support beam? Ah. Yeah, I'm kind of regretting my choice now, to be honest, of all the level ups, all the leveling up I've done. But surely the metal beam, that's something I craft? Or is that going to be something that I find? Because I don't think I've seen that as a craftable thing. That's a boss. Where's Lyndon? Let me get behind you. Let me get behind you. Ow, fuck you, you big fat fuck.
Let's give it to 'em, boys.
Ow. Are you meant to be like some B-Tech swan? Ow. Oh, don't chase me. Chase them. I'm a friendly Onyx. Oh, what ammo is this using? Oh, 45. Okay, I don't care about that too much. Yeah, grenades is not a bad idea, actually.
Kill the bastard. That'll teach you to mess with us. You need anything?
He's pretty fucking disgusting, isn't he? Metal beams anywhere? No? Yes? Maybe? Oh, so do red pups. I have a special stick for you. Hello. Let's get rid of some of these rats. That boss was surprisingly easy, if that was a boss. Oh, fuck. I need a key. Okay. Key, please. You have a key? Do you have a key? There must be another room here. I missed. All one of these fuckers have it.
Oh God. Another person. Are you friend? Or are you foe? Indeed. That is who I am. Reporting for duty as always. Lieutenant Doyle sent us with orders to build the bridges and contact the Croydonians. During the construction of the first bridge, 2 Brixtonians died and fell into the lava. I took Private Clark and Whitford it. That makes sense. I assumed they'd blame us for the death of their fellow tribespeople and saw this as retribution. But if you're here, thank you. From the bottom of my heart.
Ah, okay, I can leave now.
I assume Lieutenant Doyle wants you to finish the job and build the second bridge to... If you need more resources, you'll find them inside the tunnels. Watch out.
Okay, there's tunnels.
Go with God, my friend. God save our gracious
Stop singing.
Long live our noble queen.
The queen is dead. Well, at least I've got a key now. Hopefully this lets us out of here. Hey, it does. Oh, fuck. Oh. See where this takes us, and then potentially end it there so I can grab some food. Oh, fuck. Hey, there we go. Support beam. Alright, we'll end it there though, because my brain is frazzled. I did say I didn't know. I did indeed. Right, thank you very much everyone for tuning in, tuning out, and just having fun. I will give details on the 24-hour stream in the next few days. It'll most likely be next weekend, because obviously it'll have to be on a Saturday, preferably. I will be streaming next week during the week. Only a few hours though, because obviously it's work days. But yeah, we're going to say hello to my very good friend Abtots, who is absolutely smashing it on the Twitch homepage at the moment. So if you like Tarkov, feel free to join in the raid. But yeah, for now, guys, I will catch you later, and I will see you all next week. Have a great weekend, all. Bye. I shall be well. No, Rip.